Welcome. Today is Tuesday, the 12th day. Oh my goodness. Screw it. I'm just going to leave the top as it is, where it says 2017.9.2017. It's the 12th day of September 2017. And in this video, I'm going to go over some charts of interest that I have seen on this date. I do not recommend anything, rather I try to educate and explain how I view things, what I'm doing, what I've done within things such. And so everything is within your own risk and own reward. I'm going to start first with the Komodo chart. And as I stated on the outset, I'm going to explain it on how I see this. And this one's a breeze on understanding the message of the market. Since this top, the market was unable to move any further from the correctionary phase, thus making this low, resisting this previous level within the band, the newly declining 18 average at this time, huge leg lower, then a rally to the declining band in the first one. I'm not going to say often does it fail, but it's not a surprise to see stuff like that happen. There was the original attempt on, hey, wait a second here, I guess somebody knew something's going to happen. I guess they were right, at least for a leg higher. He stabilized for a bit. And then you have this big volume in here. And within such, you've had your gain. But when we look at it more deep, you've had this little area in here of key resistance established from this top. So therefore, when you have a pattern looking like that, that's making a statement. I mean, especially when you consider the volume, the size of these two up days, and the third follow-through day after the correctionary day. That's a statement. It's a statement that's, okay, I'm going to revert the trend. And the technical analysis that I talk about all the time, stage one, flatten out. Okay. Stage two, establish resistance. Now, technically, this happened here as well. But by the book, you come back to this band. Now, as we're looking at this, it's 5 down days in a row. That's pretty bearish, because is this not the possibility of failed move, fast move? And it very easily could be. Because you have a situation like this where you break a major point. Thus, you make that major statement. There's the move above it. That after making the move, if you quickly come back to where you came from, then it's not a good sign. Now, quite frankly, it actually came from here, but its big resistance was at this point. So I'm giving you the negative aspect towards such. Now let's talk about the positive aspect. Again, coming off of a big volume, you had your move. As I stated, the statement was revert trend. Okay, you revert trend, but how many times have we seen you come back to the band and then you just go? Maybe you're going to stabilize in here for another 5, 10, 20 days. Okay, sure, so be it. But I've seen that happen several times before. Now let's talk about some Fibonacci retracement. What we're going to do is take the recent high with what this low happens to be. And the answer is you're coming down to a 61.8% retracement to the downside. Let's bring up the numbers. What we have on here is we have the high of 87, which of course is up in here. We have the low of 27.5, which is down in here. And if you're wondering about this calculator, I did a video on this before. Search MoneyCharts calculator. I'll leave a message. I can give you the link for more information on it. But with that being stated, 56 in here, yeah, it was nice support. And now after it has support and it fills below it, you're looking for the next one, 42,866. So a move below 43 is where this thing would be at its key support. So therefore, on the technical analysis as I look at it within Fibonacci, one of the reasons I like to buy just a random code I've never seen before is because I realize if it's bullish, I mean, it's just so obvious it's going to be support, and this thing's going to go to like, well, it's going to break this and it's going to go much higher. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. But even if it's going to be bearish, I've seen it so often. Okay, so you've got 5 down days in a row, and let's just say as we head into Wednesday, it goes down again, and then as we move into Thursday, oh wow, it comes up to oh, I know what number it would come up to. It's going to come to about 56,000, right around here, yeah. And then oh, so you buy here, you sell somewhere here, and there's your profit. So that's why oftentimes I'll do that strategy just to pick away, because I realize there's a good chance if it's both bullish or bearish, I can still get the profit. So let's take a look at this 55 number short term, then we'll go on to the next code. And within the 1 hour time frame, we can see that it was pretty much perfect support and an area where this is where your profit took. So when you buy here, you could end up playing that strategy. Okay, I'm going to buy here. I'll put a sell order somewhere around 74. And see how I do. And oh, you didn't hit. So even though sometimes you're going to bounce from there and you play it, that doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to be a winning strategy. But had, of course, you had a sell order anywhere here or lower, you would have profited within the play. But in myself, whenever I get a situation like this, and I have a buy order hit, and then it just comes right back to the congestion area it was, I'm just prone to like literally sell. Oh, I get notification I bought at 56,000 and I see that the price is at like 65. Oh man, 13 or so percent. I feel tempted, and that's just my kind of style. And furthermore, that resistance level of the 56, we can see in here that it was a primary resistance level. So it's been grinding its way lower. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit more downside room. Of course, that key fib level I was talking about. Let's move on to the next code. And that will be EGC, Evergreen Coin. And I'm selling. I am selling. The trend is that it goes up and then it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. Well, we'll see how easy it is to buy back in this previous congestion area, or how this is going to play out. Now, am I selling everything that I had? I didn't have much to begin with, but I had some. I'll keep a little bit. But I do realize that when you get these kinds of decent gains, when you got them, man, I gotta take them. After all, I'm letting you know what I'm doing. I'm not recommending anything, but I'm sure as heck taking profits here. Let's take a look at this on a shorter term time frame. And this is the 45-minute time frame. And I guess if you're good at understanding fundamental analysis, I mean, what the heck happened here? Was there developer news of something? You know what, maybe. For me, I look at game theory as maximizing your strengths to the best of your abilities and minimizing your weaknesses. And when applicable, maximizing your opponent's weaknesses and minimizing their strengths. And quite frankly, my strengths is the analytical, mathematical side of it. So that's what I maximize. I really, unless I can have somebody I trust and know give me some good fundamental information or anything that I can actually understand, then I usually stay away from it. So I have no idea within such of the fundamentals. But when I see a situation like this, markets trading, it's like, oh, it wasn't doing anything. Then all of a sudden you get this, whoa, what a big green candle move. And then you just follow through with not as big ones, but it's now starting to trade normal. Okay, how normal would it be that in a case of, say, a few hours or a small handful of hours that you have a retracement going from 78 down to about 56, which is a difference of 22, or that of, a 30% down move. Yeah, the stock market loses 30% in like 3 months and everyone's panicking. But let's look at the size of these moves. Or you know what? I'm going to shorten this out, and I'm going to show you what the chart looked like before this point on the exact same time frame, just before the big green candle. And within this, the reason why the charts look in the manner that they do, when you see charts like this, that's always because of low volume, low participation, as far as not many buys and sells that are traded within that time frame. As far as the market was concerned then, had this downtrend, and step 1, band flatten out. Step 2, establish resistance. But hey, it looks like it might be breaking out. Oh, it did. So it established the resistance. So now let's take a look at this at a much shorter term time frame from the 45-minute. This being the 15-minute. And a little bit of concern in here. You establish this support level in here. You come back to a flat 18 average. It has now since came back to this point. Now, technically, it's broke below it, but matching low in my book, whether it's a hair above, hair below, which this is a hair below, that's the same thing. So we do have this newly declining average. One of the things that I look for is, one, does it consolidate for 3-4 periods, something like this? And then you start to notice a breakdown below 67, below 6600s. Well, she may be time to test closer to 6,000. And it can happen, of course, at any time as well, too. But I say that you have a situation here where like bands declining or just long consolidation moves after a gain. So the massive elevator at 100 miles an hour, then the consolidation, and then we'll call that, I don't know if we'll elevator ride again at a regular speed. And will it have some sort of consolidation? Maybe. That's definitely in order. It hasn't broken support by any means as of yet. And it is supporting back to where it came from as well. Okay, so then when you see situations like this, oftentimes when you have decent correctionary moves, you see price action in here. That will usually lie at one of two things. Number one, very good entry points because you are noticing that it was just out of a correctionary phase and you're ready to break through that high. The similar situation would have been buying in here. And the risk towards that is, remember I said a long sideways consolidation? Well, if that's the case, then maybe that's where the sideways range is, and you're just going to have a buy that's pretty much at the high. So that's some of the risk and rewards to a play of that kind of nature. 13, almost 14 minutes. I got a couple codes I want to do, so I can do 20 minutes. Let's go to the next one. And we'll use 1ST first as its next code. This is the daily time frame, so all the data available within the Bittrex exchange. And it's been going consistently down and down and down and down, and to pretty good number intervals. You go from about from this high at around 130 or so to about 5. That's a huge drop, or what the actual real numbers would be, 130,000 to 5,700. Volatility, let's talk about risk, let's talk about reward, let's talk about probability, and then we'll talk about volume as well. As there was some pretty interesting volume on today's session. Okay. Reward is such. Where do you want to sell? I mean, if you think it can get back to where it was, it's at 10,000 now. We're looking at like even 100,000, 10 times gain. If you make a play like this, where you're looking to go for 100,000, and you did this every 6 or 7 times, you did this, you were right, and the other 5 or 6 times it went to nothing, you would technically still be profiting on a mathematical level, as the gains are wild. And this is one thing to note that I like to look for with charts when they are, with any chart, is the numbers of the price, like the major volatility available. I realize that just a 38.2% move would be just somewhere in the area of here. Well, going from 10,000 to 27,000, that's a pretty good gain. You put like a third of a Bitcoin on it, or whatever number, just for every 1 Bitcoin you put on it, you get 2.7 back, or 1.7 profit. It also, as a trader, can get you situations where maybe you can add a stage of this level. One of the things I might like to do is, well, on a more longer term level, maybe you buy a sell level here, maybe sell a little bit here. Okay, so if I'm buying at 10 and selling at 25, if I bought 1 Bitcoin worth, I could sell 1 Bitcoin worth. I'd technically be selling a little under half of what I had, and the remainder of my tokens are set for free. But me, as a trader that I would be, I'd also be looking to buy those back. Okay, I sell at 25. Let's try to get it back somewhere around this 15 number. That's one measure that I would be looking towards. Of course, that's part within the risk reward. And then probability, well, I do realize that your chances are better when I look at this volume in here. Like, what? I want to see how this follows through, but decent size volume. And it really didn't bring the price up too much in consideration to where the volume was, because it's gotten up to the 18 average of closes of declining one. It hasn't been there since in here. Let's shorten this out a little bit. Look at this on the 1 hour time frame, and the big volume right in here coming in. Right at this point. So maybe again some developer news of something, I don't know. But when these things are ready to go, they just go. It's not uncommon. It's in fact quite normal, rather, for you to have these cryptos do things in a short period of time. In this case, a few okay part of the day, go from maybe 7,300 Satoshi to 11,000. Nice move. That's a gain of about close to 50%. The correctionary move from 11.5 down to 9. Losing a mere 20 plus or so percent, or about 20%, down to the 18 average of lows, and is now congesting within such, so it's established this good resistance in here, which would be easier to see in a shorter term time frame. Heck, let's do it. And within the 15-minute, I like, this is like one of those moments where something's got to give. Symmetrical triangle. You got a downtrend, you got an uptrend. All right. So then expect there to be one move to one side or another. I really don't know, but the volume early on the daily time frame that's coming in. Again, if you know something how to do it fundamentally, check that out. Let's go to the final chart. GRS, and I won't even pronounce or try to pronounce the pronunciation of the coin, but I will attempt the technical analysis of such. So within here, like all the other or most of the markets, hey, let's top sometime at the end of the spring, start of the summer, and have a nasty, or a decline, but in this case, a nasty decline, going from 18 to 18. Or losing about 90% of its value. Again, Realize risk reward, profit potentiality is there huge when you have these kinds of plays. And when you try to pick bottoms, it's a guessing game. And you can say, oh, it's down too much. Okay, we were at 18, so 10,000 or 10,000. Well, nice try. 7,000. Nice try. 5,000. Hey, it might end up working out for you still if you still have them. And even in here, if you got it, well, congratulations, because it looks like it's going to work. But sometimes you just want to look for better confirmation. What can I see that can indicate that after this big decline, that it's time to for this thing to get going again? Well, the band 18 average has went from sideways to rising. There has now been 3 interesting high volume plays. This one, and again in this last session here again. Is this thing ready to go off? Well, I see it's priced at 4,000. If we even come anywhere near where it came from, the profit potentiality, 100%, 150%, try to go for this previous high. You're talking about now over a 4x gain. And who knows what it could do if it breaks that level even higher than that. And we'll finish it off within the 2-hour time frame, which goes to the start of September, basically. So we have a congestion area in here, which had some decline for the first few days of the month. And a rally from about 25-ish or so up to about 44, almost double. And correcting most of its gains after that. So there's the decent volume. This volume's consistently good. That's what I like about this. It's not a situation where there was just for one period of time for 10 minutes or a half hour or 2 hours where a bunch of people would get in and follow through never came in, at least at any decent levels like it is now. Here it's just consistently people bringing in volume. So it's most obviously up buying volume with the market going higher. But technically speaking, you did establish this resistance area field. And in here, you had several hits within the area until finally making a move a bit below the 18 average of highs. And now again congesting that area for several periods. And even on a very, very short-term level, it's broken out past this point. It's came back to this level. So it looks as if there's a decent chance we might continue to have further acceleration as we continue forward. I do like how this thing has broken through. And again, you might want to look at this more short term and how within this 42 handle. And within the 5-minute time frame, there's the 42 handle worth mentioning. I don't get too concerned about this big red candle that it's going to break it down, although it is making clear within technical analysis as we see price action coming here. You have a newly declining band, support established, that if this thing is unable to get past in here and you're trading this, you start to see that it's pulling back and it's roughly around in here, around 4,000, 39.80, even 4,000 and a quarter, 40.25 that is. Yeah, you can definitely be cautious that this thing can maybe fall a few hundred more satoshis lower. Okay, wow, I didn't expect to do close to a 25-minute video, but I did. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.